On a late spring morning in 1944, the British King and Prime Minister were joined in London by the commanders of the Allied forces for the final review of Operation Overlord. Overlord would be the largest coordinated air, naval and army attack that the world had ever seen. The attack is now better known as D-Day, or the Battle of Normandy, and was the Allied forces' cross-channel invasion of Germany-occupied France. On the day of the battle, June 6, 1944, 1,200 planes, 5,000 amphibious and marine vessels, and nearly 160,000 troops crossed the English Channel and gained a tenuous foothold in Western Europe. This was enough to turn the tide of World War II in the Allies' favour, and in a little under 3 months, Germany had lost the war. Now, the British Allied admirals, air chief marshals, and generals that orchestrated the attack were led by the Supreme Allied Commander, an American named Dwight Eisenhower. Eisenhower was truly a remarkable leader, both during and after World War II. In addition to planning and supervising the largest logistical operation in the history of war, he was awarded the rare 5-star rank of General of the Army. After serving in the war, he served as the Army Chief of Staff, President of Columbia University, Supreme Commander of NATO, and was elected the 34th President of the United States. Eisenhower's prowess as a leader was helped in part by his successful and effective communication. He used the power of language to win the support and trust of those around him. Now, in his life and career, he found himself in countless situations where communication was key to success. So early in his career, as a second lieutenant, Eisenhower would have needed to communicate with his superiors in a professional manner and respect the Army's chain of command. However, during the 2.5 years between the United States joining the Second World War and his successful execution of Overlord, Eisenhower was promoted rapidly. This meant he was commanding those who once served underneath him, and thus his communication tactics would have needed to change. A great leader needs 3 things. They need the respect of their superiors, the respect of their peers, and the respect of their inferiors, in order to make timely and concise decisions and trust that they will be followed. Now, Eisenhower's credibility enabled him to win the support of those around him. He had proven that he was a competent leader and a trustworthy character, and he cared about those he was assigned to lead. Now, in my experience, good teachers have been good leaders. Good teachers also share those 3 credible traits, and they are supported by their superiors, respected by their colleagues, and have the trust of students and parents. Now, I'll be very careful with drawing comparisons between a wartime leader and a pre-service teacher. However, having said that, Eisenhower was a product of his environment, a leader at a time when difficult decisions needed to be made on a regular basis. Now, we know that the transactional model of communication is the creation and negotiation of meaning involving 2 or more parties responding to their environment and each other. Now, Eisenhower's environment was the theatre of war, and the other parties were the leaders of the Allied forces. So there could be no ambiguity about the meaning of his orders. When lives are at stake, plans and intentions must be crystal clear. To achieve this, Eisenhower had to overcome cultural barriers, physical and psychological interference, and differences in personal opinions between himself and the other Allied leaders. So now when I look at Eisenhower, I see a man that was careful to check for understanding. He did this through asking for feedback and engaging in discussion. He was a man with an attentive, impression-making, and precise style of communication. His way of communicating with leaders from different countries in war council rooms reflects standard 1.3 in the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. That is, understanding students with diverse linguistic, cultural, religious, and socioeconomic backgrounds. After all, this was an American general successfully communicating to the King of Britain the best plan of attack for all Allied troops. So in addition to this, Eisenhower also reflects standards 3.2 and 3.5, plan, structure, and sequence learning programs, and use effective classroom communication. He also exemplifies many of the ethical standards expressed in the Code of Ethics for Teachers in Queensland, including integrity, responsibility, justice, and care. Studies have shown that teacher communication skills have a significant role in the academic outcome of students. In his political and military career, Dwight Eisenhower used the power of language to successfully communicate with people from all walks of life, from kings to constituents, prime ministers and presidents, board of trustees, dignitaries and soldiers. He used the power of language to solve problems, win support, evoke trust, and demonstrate his caring. Perhaps in another life, Eisenhower would have made a great teacher.